Hi, I'm Lucas Cross. My group includes me, Katie Coker, Cadence Caldwell, and Stoley Cox. Now, from the very beginning, me and my group decided that we were going to do something that involved nature because it's a common interest that all of us share. Well, nature is a very broad subject and there's a lot of different stuff you can touch on. So what we narrowed in on was we were going to talk about how us as humans are affecting nature and what can happen if we don't stray away and start to fix what we're doing. So first, to get started, what is nature? Nature can be a lot of things. It can be your pets, it can be cows on the farm, it can be trees, it can be grass, it can be bugs, it can be oil and different type of non-renewable resources. It can be even like night and day cycles. Those are also technically considered part of nature. But how are humans negatively affecting nature now? Well, to give a broad overview before my group mates get into more specific examples, when humans first got over to America, for instance, they would take whatever they needed. Like if you were trying to build a house, you need trees, you'd cut down the trees. But more importantly, you'd only take what you needed and you'd replant those trees. What started to happen now is that we're taking more than we need because we can sell it and make money off of it. A big example of this is the Amazon rainforest. The Amazon rainforest, like my group mates will get more in detail about, used to be the biggest forest in the entire planet. But because of deforestation, which is a process where you cut out parts of a forest for the logs or just to kind of get the soil underneath the plant different stuff, the Amazon rainforest is starting to drop dramatically. And different industries kind of just cause this effect. For instance, the sand industry. The sand industry is more specifically tuned to making glass and different objects like that, vases. But what's happening is we have to get the sand from somewhere. So different sand industries are taking the sand from different banks and it's affecting the ecosystem. And a third industry is the palm oil industry. Now, a lot of you probably don't know what palm oil is. It goes in a lot of different stuff because it's a vegetable oil. Well, this vegetable oil is gathered from different places kind of in South America. And in South America, it's a very devastating process to the tree. You lose a tree to get this palm oil. But getting this palm oil yields a lot of money for the industry. So people continue to do it because they make so much money off of it, but it's affecting the actual nature system. And what it boils down to is nature has started to be affected by human greed, which is natural, but different activist groups have started to try to get a hold on that, because if we don't get a hold on that, then as me and my group mates will talk about in this speech, it's going to have devastating effects on us, not just now, but even in the near future. So what we're first going to get into is about the Amazon rainforest and how it's being negatively impacted because of deforestation and human greed.
Deforestation is exactly what it sounds like. It is a process where you either cut down a forest so you can sell the wood, or you simply clear land to make room for other things. Deforestation is the permanent removal of trees from forests. It's a major contributor to climate change as trees absorb carbon dioxide and release oxygen. Deforestation also destroys habitats for countless species of plants and animals, and can lead to soil erosion and water pollution. Several places like the world's rainforests have been affected by deforestation. In the last 50 years, about half of the world's rainforests have been destroyed. The Amazon rainforest was the biggest rainforest ever and at one point had 526 million acres. The Amazon rainforest is the largest tropical rainforest in the world, covering an area of 5.5 million square kilometers. It is home to an estimated 10% of the world's known species of plants, animals, and insects. The Amazon River, the second longest river in the world, flows through the rainforest and is a major source of water for the region. Deforestation is a major threat to the Amazon rainforest, with an estimated 17% of the forest having been destroyed in the last 50 years. The indigenous people of the Amazon have lived in the rainforest for thousands of years and have deep cultural connection to the land. In the 1960s, Brazilian and American companies started clearing the forest for cattle ranching. This was the main cause of deforestation until the 1890s, when miners started to clear the forest to gain access to the natural resources inside of the forest like coal and stone. By the year 2000, 7% of the entire forest had been cleared. Now as we approach 2023, we've lost 17% of the forest. This is so important because not only is the Amazon rainforest just a beautiful place with 30% of animal species living there, but it also helps a lot with climate change. Just to clarify, the Amazon River itself is not being deforested, as it is a body of water. However, the deforestation in the Amazon rainforest can have a significant impact on the river's health and the ecosystems it supports. The Amazon rainforest plays an important role in regulating the river's flow and water quality, and deforestation can lead to soil erosion, sedimentation, and changes in water, temperature, and chemistry. This can have negative impacts on the river's fish populations, aquatic plants, and other wildlife. It is important to protect the Amazon rainforest to ensure the health of the Amazon River and many species that depend on it. 76 billion tons of carbon are stored inside the trees inside the rainforest. And if all of that is released, climates around the world, not just Brazil, will be affected. The forest also releases 20 billion tons of water a day and helps with the water cycle around the whole world. Of course, the deforestation of the Amazon is an important example of how we've been impacting nature, but steps have already been taken by both Brazil and the US to conserve the rainforest. But now, let's look more at an unknown industry, the sand industry.
Sand is an industry that produces just over $1 billion annually, and individuals can make up to $140,000 a year. This may not be a lot to some, but it is enough for this industry to keep going and harming the environment. The income for this industry may be smaller than the mining, cattle, and logging industries, all which affect the Amazon, but it doesn't make it any less dangerous to the world's climate. For instance, when two river deltas, specifically in China, were mined to access sand, it greatly impacted the climate of the region. Not only was the region impacted, but long-term, more surrounding areas will be affected by the damage to the climate. For instance, it led to an increase of flooding because there wasn't enough sediment to block the floods, and it made the rivers smaller. Both of these examples are just a couple of reasons why the ecosystem began to die. Initially, the mines caused irreversible damage to the surrounding habitats, and soon there will be long terms as well. This didn't just happen in China. In the United States, there are many sand industries that occupy this territory, but there are three major ones. These are located in Texas, Wisconsin, and California. Even though the last coastal mines in the US were closed early into the 2020s, the effects are still producing long term. The mines that were along the coast of California permanently damaged the coast because of the sand that was mined. The water rose on the banks and swallowed an entire part of the beach. And it put some fish on the shore. That is not okay for surrounding areas of the oceanic territory. Not only are there coastal regions in the United States that occupy sand industries, but there are more all over the world. The sand industry shows that even if you stop hurting nature permanently, there will be long-term effects. And as leaders of the world, because other creatures don't have a soul and mind, we should stop creating harmful industries that damage the ecosystem and environment as a whole. This can build a healthier environment for species, not only just for us, but for all creatures around the earth.
In conclusion, environmental changes do not target a particular portion of nature. Not only are the human species a part of the ecosystem, but so are millions of different other species across the globe. Just because harmful effects on the environment don't affect us today doesn't mean that future generations will not experience these altercations. We are susceptible to the environmental changes as leaders of the world. Humans produce strong impacts on the environment, especially due to the control over the habitats in which we occupy. When we affect the weather and natural conditions, other species have to adapt to these changes as well. Altering the environment is easily done through labor such as sand and lumber industries. However, those aren't the only industries that can change the environment. Creatures are left vulnerable to the effects of human professions and may likely suffer the consequences of harmful industrial work. This is a problem that only humans can solve. As humans, we simply change our outlook on the environment and we can protect other creatures from potential devastation or extinction.